Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host El Young, and we are here with the brilliant River Brooks. So welcome, River.
Hello. Thank you very much. Very nice
So
to meet
River,
you.
yeah, you too, you too. So River, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yes, well, I write some music, or at least I try. I try. I have some fabulous musicians who uh, pretty much help me write the songs, but they're amazing musicians, so they do such an amazing job with the stuff. So that's what I do. I decided probably, oh, let me see now, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, because I wasn't really a musician originally. I've always sang, but I haven't played really that much. So I decided 5, 6 years ago that I didn't really like what I was hearing in mainstream. I mean, it's obviously just my opinion, but I didn't really like it. It all sounded the same, and I didn't like that women were, it didn't sound like women were very nice. They were like hoes and bitches, and I know that sounds terrible, but that's all I could hear. So then I decided that I was going to start writing some half decent music, and that was
Yeah,
that was the catalyst to starting to write some music. So this is stuff now is actually the second album uh, that I'm working on, but that's really what started got me into thinking about how I could add my bit into music, and that's how we came to be where we're at.
cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, yeah. So we'll talk about what you've been up to later on. In about what 20 minutes, about 10, 15 minutes. So anyway, let's dive into some questions.
Okay.
Um, as a kid, what were you listening to?
Well, you're gonna laugh, but I have to say, my inspiration for singing was actually, are you ready? It was Shirley Bassey.
Good singer,
I
really good
loved,
singer.
oh, I loved Shirley Bassey. She was the first concert I went to see when I was young. And I was mesmerized by her because she was such a character. She was tiny. I thought she was this huge woman, and I went to see her, and she was really tiny. And she had these big, massive high heels on, and this big flamboyant um, kind of outfit, and she was so amazing. And so she actually inspired me to sing back in the day. Her and all the classic kind of ladies like Ella Fitzgerald and Sarah Vaughan, and that's really where my interest was sparked with these ladies because I just loved the emotion, and you could virtually feel what they were singing about, and so that's where it all kicked off back in
Yeah,
the day
cool.
when I was
Yeah,
young.
cool, cool, cool. So, have you got any other like more modern inspirations, like from the more modern pop, more modern music scene?
Yeah, well, for the more modern ones, yeah. As I got older, yeah, I used to listen to the Police, Sting, all these guys, and then what else? More recent, obviously Tina Turner and these guys. These Amy Winehouse, all the classic. I guess we call them classic now, right? Adele, all of these guys, because there's something that connects all of them. They have these richness in the timbres of their voices and stuff, and these are always the ones that I'm kind of drawn to, like and your Lana Del Rey's and all these guys. There's a particular style, um, and you can hear it. Like I guess Tina Turner's the closest. She has a very, I feel anyway, but I don't know what you guys think. Apparently, that my voice is a very similar. There's a similar timbre, but I guess that's up to you guys to decide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, who actually got you into sort of like listening to music? Was it your parents or a
Yeah,
sibling, or was it? sort
Yeah,
of like yeah,
it was my parents because they used to listen to all that stuff. So as you're growing up, you hear all of this stuff all the time. And it was the older they seem to be drawn to the older generation. And more like these ladies that I'm talking about, and Johnny Mathis and all these guys. So that's what I grew up listening to, and I guess that's where it comes from. Um, and yeah, it's never really changed. Even now, there's lots of great artists out there, and have been for many decades. And there's always going to be the icons like Prince and David Bowie and all these guys. But and that's never going to change. Uh, but I think even now, even the younger generation now, I think they're bored as well. They want to go back to the older stuff. And I find that a lot of the younger folk that I know, even like the teenagers, I mean, a lot of teenagers are listening to my stuff. They like it, which is interesting because I always thought it would have been an older crowd that would like it. But it's certainly, and the more recent stuff, they're tuning in. It's like the listening age is between 17 and 35. So I'm like, oh, okay. I could do
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think I've noticed that where one of my nephews, he sort of like listens to stuff from the because he buys vinyl. Um, he listens to sort of like the 60s
Yeah,
country,
yeah,
60s country. He listens to like a lot of stuff from like the 70s and 80s.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and I think, don't you find that a lot of it's maybe to do with the biopic movies and stuff that the kids have been watching. Like I know this kid he's 17 and he loves Elvis. Now, there's no way he would have known about Elvis. I've never even listened much to Elvis until then. And then and he loves Elvis, and he's 17, and he's not like he's you know a geeky type kid. He's just a regular kid. And he's listening to Elvis, and I mean, one of the other kids came up and said, "Oh, have you heard this guy? This guy's amazing." And I'm like, "Who's this guy?" "The guy's 85. It's like Paul Anka." I'm like, "What the hell? How are you listening to this stuff? I don't even know who this guy is." But they're inspirational as well. The young kids are listening to older, more traditional music, which I think is great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Paul Anka's part of the Rat Pack from the 50s with
I know,
Johnson.
that's
With the,
crazy.
I
I
was
never
like,
even I'd never even heard any of his stuff till this kid come up and says, "This is great." And what inspired the kid to show me was this Paul Anka was doing some concert somewhere, and he's 80 odd, and he looked like he was 60, and he's giving it all of this, doing the real performer thing. And he said, "This is amazing." And I'm like, wow. I was amazed at Paul Anka. So,
yeah,
but anyway, all of that to say is, I think a lot of us are reverting back a bit to more. I don't know if is authentic the right word. I don't know, but I just feel that maybe a lot of the stuff sounds much the same today, and
yeah, it
a
does.
real shame. But having said that, like I say, a lot of the people are reverting back to more traditional, sort of authentic sounds.
Yeah, yeah. So apart from like Shirley Bassey, was there any other inspiration, other musician, whether it be a singer or somebody else who was another inspiration to you?
Let me think now. Like musicians. Well, you see, the problem that I have is I kind of listen to a lot of these things, more classical stuff. Um, would I say? Let me think. It's hard to say because I think I was kind of influenced by a broad spectrum, and it's difficult. So I was never really interested in one particular genre. It's just whatever caught my ear, whatever I was listening to. I would say it was mostly mainstream stuff, though. um, that I was listening to. Anyone inspirational other than Shirley? You know what? I think she was the main thing. That's all I used to think about Shirley Bassey. She was great. But let me think. I guess in the 80s and the 90s, um, I was listening to The Cure and all these guys, right? Um, and like I said to you earlier, the Police and Sting, and when he left them and did his solo stuff, I really was inspired by his stuff actually. I like there's something in his music that is very interesting to me, and it's yeah, the Smiths went through. I like the Smiths for a while. They're still going as well. I don't know if
Yeah,
that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're still going.
yeah, yeah,
But in
yeah.
particular, um, not really. I guess today I'm really inspired by Derek Trucks, actually, the guitarist there. I find him an incredible guitarist. Um, More recently, I guess. But Derek Trucks is so skilled on his guitar. He makes his guitar sing. It's with his technique that he uses there. But yeah, so I guess he would be a guitarist that I find inspiring. Of course, you've always got the other ones that everyone loves, like your Santanas and all, but the classics. But I would say he of the musicians, I would say Derek Trucks is very talented. Um,
Cool.
I don't think I'll ever be as good as him, but I can try, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Before you said you started to properly sing around about 5 or 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Were you sort of like in any sort of like groups, or were you doing like or you just purely
Well,
focusing on your own stuff?
Well, you know how it happened. As like I said, I wasn't really involved in much music then. Um, I used to work in the investment industry, and that's really what I did for my whole life. I left the music behind, and I went to work in investment industry, and that's what I did. And then when we came over to Canada, we came over with work, and then we had a family and stuff. And so my time was really not my own. And it's really 5, 6 years ago that my time became more of my own, if that makes sense. I had some more time. And it was one of my friends who was heavily involved in the music side of stuff in the local scene here. She says, "Oh, you have to come and sing." Because what happened is I used to go out with a bunch of girls, and we'd always invariably, every week, we'd end up in some karaoke club. Singing our hearts out with a glass of wine and stuff. Anyhow, so she says, "Oh, you have to come and sing." And there was this thing that she had organized. And I said, "Okay, what am I going to sing?" She says, "Well, it's a live band. We'll put a band together and you sing some songs." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that's what I did. And that was where it actually started. Because it was like it was called I think it was a League of Rock. And basically what it was, you had different musicians come together and they formed different bands. And then there was like a competition thing. And that was it. So that's what I did. And I actually ended up winning Best Vocalist award at this competition thing, which was it was a huge surprise to me. And like, oh, okay. So then but while we were working on that project there, um, we were singing, quite rocky stuff that I hadn't sung before. Remember, I hadn't sung since I was young. And so I decided I was going to go to this vocal coach because I didn't want to ruin my voice because I'd previously sung more jazz and blues. And this stuff was more heavy. Well, it wasn't heavy, but it was heavier than what I was used to. I was doing some Tina Turner and stuff. And so I decided I'd go to this vocal coach so she could help me learn how to use my voice without ruining it, you know? And so when I went there a couple of times, and it was only in, I don't know, a few lessons with her, and she's saying, how do you fancy, would you be interested in singing with me? And I'm like, singing with you? What? But she ended up being a really good friend of mine. And so that's kind of how it all kind of started, going for these vocal lessons to be able to sing rock without damaging your vocal cords. And then through her, I met a producer who says, you really got to record some tunes. And I'm like, okay. So that's how it started, which is it's an interesting progression because it was never, many people will maybe think, well, it was never really meant to be. It just kind of happened, a bit of this and a bit of that, and suddenly you're here. And so that was the beginning. And I did record a couple of covers. And it was while I was recording these covers with this producer, he's saying, you really have to write your own stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay. When do we start? Let's go. So he and I, it's Joe Segretti, he and I ended up writing an album. And that was the first album, and it's called Reformed Soul. And so we actually did it between us, and we got the musicians in to play it. And then I'm like, okay, I got this great album. And then I'm like, hell, I need to get a band. I know that sounds really bizarre, but because it wasn't the normal route to go, it was kind of back to front. We did the album before the album. We had the musicians because we did it between us, when we got people into the studio to play the parts. Um, and so then that's when I decided, okay, I got to get a band together. I need to do this quick time. And so we got a band together. And there's been a few changes since then. Got a different guitarist, different bass player. And sadly, this year our drummer, who's been there from the beginning, he passed away. So it's been a real rough year for us, with that. But the great thing is that we managed to get all his drums done for this album coming. So he's the drummer in all of them, which I mean, it's kind of bittersweet, but at the same time, we have our drummer there forevermore in these tunes, so he'll live on in these songs there. But yeah, so that's really how it started, and it's just been a progression from there. Because after the first album, we wrote 3 singles, so they were released as singles. There's Little Black Book, there's Blue Monday, and Time Will Tell. So these were the 3 singles after the first album. And then now the stuff that's released now is from the newest album, which we've been working on feverishly. Because time doesn't wait. I have to get my guitar out and giving it all of this. Yeah, let's go. But of course, it's not me that's playing. I need someone that's better than me to play. It's Chris, our guitarist. Chris, he's an amazing, very talented young guitarist. So he's the one that you hear on these tracks. He's very good.
Yeah,
And
cool,
you
cool.
saw Lewis earlier. That's a bass player. He's another very talented. I'm so lucky. Our band right now is amazingly talented. So you're going to hear some fabulous stuff. Yes.
Cool, cool. So, you mentioned you are working on the new album. Um, could you tell us a little bit about that? A little bit about the album?
Oh, the new album? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was last year. My drummer there, the band that passed away. Um, it was him that kind of forced this situation because we had this song that had this idea for a song, and we had tried it out a few times, and it seemed to lose something when other people played it. It lost the essence of the tune. And I'm like, well, I can't play. I'm not good enough to play it. And he says, oh, yeah, if you want this to sound like that, you're gonna have to play it. And I'm like, okay. So it was that conversation I had with the drummer that inspired me, right? Okay, I can play, I can get the chords and all the rest of it, but I need to be better than I am. So then I decided to get some jazz guitar lessons. So that's what I did. And then as I'm going along with the lessons, all these new songs are coming out, and I'm learning all these fancy chords, and they're like, I'm like this, and I'm like, I can barely play them, but I know what they sound like, and I know how the melody needs to go, and that was really part of it, um, uh, so that I could, add in these interesting chords into the songs, and so I have to thank the drummer Ben for making me get these lessons so that we could make some interesting progressions in the new material. Um, so that's how that started. And from then, as soon as that thing started, it was just this cascade of music coming. All these songs that just kept coming, and I'm like, hell, like behind this album, there's another one. It's like someone turned a tap on. The drummer turned a tap on, and now, unfortunately, he's not with us anymore, but the stuff still keeps coming.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
so that's really how the stuff started with this album. And the thing is, uh, the drummer was Ben. I keep calling the drummer, but Ben, so you know who I'm talking about. Is everybody believed in this project because of the message behind the songs. They're actually each song is a story. That's how I look at it. There's and when you listen to the lyrics and stuff, you'll understand what I mean. Like in the first song we released there, it's called "The Heartland," and I wrote that because I guess I was maybe a bit homesick, and since COVID's been really difficult, it's for everybody, and I guess you start to wonder, oh, I wonder how this is what they're doing here and what they're doing there and stuff. And that was the inspiration for the Heartland. That I was actually at the lake, not far from where I stay, and it was quiet and it was misty, and I'm thinking, and it just reminded me, back home. I'm like, okay, and then so I wrote the Heartland. So it's a wee bit melancholic, but at the same time, it's kind of upbeat. The Heartland, but yeah, I guess you guys, you'll be the judge. But so far so good. People seem to like it, and it's taken because I wrote these songs. You see, there's a slight change in the direction. They are a bit more, I would say, soulful, less rock, but more soulful, if that makes sense. I don't know if you've noticed that. And
yeah,
so you'll see that in all these new ones, starting with Heartland. There is a slightly different vibe to them than in the previous tunes. I guess these ones are maybe more authentic to me, and the band seem to really vibe with that. So they brought them to where they ended up, which is, I mean, I'm really pleased with them. I think they're probably the most authentic tunes yet to us. So it's been a process to get to this place. I don't think people quite realize how much has actually gone into the last 5, 6 years. It seems like it's gone like that, but there's so much crammed in there. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've learned quite a lot as well, so I'm forever blessed.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you've recently released "She's an Illusion"
Yeah,
over on YouTube.
yeah,
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
yeah. I mean, that's it. Kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. When we first kicked off the show here, is one of the reasons I got into music was because I was really disappointed and disillusioned with where we were going with speaking about women. They seem to just everybody seemed to be a hoe and a bitch, and I really didn't like it. But anyhow, so coming to this particular song, She's an Illusion. Again, it comes back to that thing about, I guess, celebrity and how women are under a lot of pressure. They're under pressure to be a certain way, to act a certain way, to look a certain way. And after a while, it just becomes everyone looks the same. Everyone behaves the same. And I don't like it that, there's a whole lot more to women than just how they look. you know and I don't, I like the individuality of people. I like to see them for who they are, not that they look and act like someone else. It's not authentic to me. So that's really what it's about. It's to bring attention to the fact that all the celebrities that you see that are mega wealthy, mega famous, and millionaires, billionaires, and just it's a facade because they're human just like everyone else. They get pimples, they have whatever, dandruff, whatever you name it, they have it as well. They're not superhuman beings. They're just like us. And I think sometimes a lot, especially the younger women, they're very easily drawn into this world that's really not. It's not attainable. It's not real, and I think it affects their confidence in themselves. Because they don't think they're ever going to be as good as whoever the hell it is, Kardashians or whoever it is. And that's really the crux of that song. It's to raise a little bit of more awareness that what you see on telly and on screens and whatever isn't real. you know, when these guys, as soon as the cameras are off, these guys are throwing off their clothes and getting their jammies, and their slippers and stuff, and eating McDonald's, whatever, stuff like that. We just have to keep things real. It's really important, especially for the confidence of the young people, and not just women, men as well. You know, it's good for them, that they appreciate themselves just as they are, without having to conform to some notion of what people needs to be. And that's
Sure.
really that's the long-winded explanation for that song. It's about celebrity and how it's fake, to
Yeah.
summarize.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. I've listened to it a couple of times now, and I really enjoyed it. And it's a really good, strong message
Yeah, I mean,
being put across.
it's interesting how we seem to have, with that particular song, we seem to have quite a cross, and I guess the one before, it's like almost like a cross genre, where you got people that would normally like different genres saying, what, I don't mind this actually. I don't mind this. It's interesting. And I think it's slightly more mainstream than what we did before, but not too mainstream because it's appealing to a broader group of people. So I guess that's good, right?
Yeah. 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 Considering, I'm sort of like a thrash metaler, death metaler.
Yeah, and you like it.
That I like it.
So that's amazing. That makes me
Yeah.
so happy. I'm gonna try some thrash metal next, just for you.
Cool. Cool.
Could you imagine
Cool.
how bad I'd be at that?
Well, I've heard some thrash metal bands in the past. Some of them were dire. Some of them were complete dire.
Oh,
So
really? What
yeah,
was it? I
I'm
mean,
I'm going back into the 80s. Really going back into the 80s. Ages, I
right.
think. What the hell is this?
Well, I think it's the same for. I think we're all like. I mean, we've all got our tastes, right? And
Yeah,
and and like I say, I like the idea of like a cross genre appeal because I like all kinds of music. If it was up to me, I'd have some opera somewhere and something, you know, because I like it. I think it's nice to have that, um, that. But interest, it makes it interesting if you jump in from one to the. I mean, you don't want to do too much, right? But little feel here and there, little vibe. I think it makes the music more interesting. So we'll see.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like I say, I mean, this album that's these two songs there that we're just about. So the two songs we released are actually part of an album. It's going to be a shorter album though because what we decided to do, because there should have been another three songs in here, but because our drummer became ill, I mean, he actually recorded these 7 tracks 2 weeks before he passed away. He passed away from brain cancer. So 2 weeks before, we managed to get his tracks down for 7 of the songs, but unfortunately, we ran out of time. So that's why we're keeping these 7 songs. They're going to be standalone by themselves. So that's going to be like a short album. So 7 songs on this album. but we'll have all of Ben's on there. So that was really what I needed to do. I don't want to add anyone else's drums into that collection because they're very special to us. Because Ben was a great friend as well as a drummer, so that's going to be his songs. But having said that, like I said, there's so many tunes. There's just like this cascade of tunes coming that there's another album behind this one as well. So
Yeah.
we're set up at least for another 2 years.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. My head moderator and fellow Canadian, Lisa Boo, she says you have a new subscriber. It's amazing. With the song "She's an Illusion."
Oh, wonderful! That's so great. Thank you so much. Oh my God, I'm really excited about that song because of the message, really as well. I like that people are listening to it and that they're in some way connecting because that's what we need to do. We gotta be our individuals, and that's what it is. Forget all of that stuff. Just be you. You're beautiful as you are. That's the message.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And she also says, talking about thrash metal, you will be fantastic at thrash.
Oh yeah. Maybe I should speak. I'll speak to the band and say hi, guys. We have one of the songs that's on this short album. Actually, I'm giving you the wee heads up here. One of them has got a bit of punk vibe.
Oh,
So
cool,
you're gonna,
cool.
when you hear it, you'll know the one. You'll be like, "Oh, that's the one." It's got a little bit of punk vibe, but I mean, I guess that's the great thing about you know being independent. You kind of just go where the music takes you, right? And
Yeah,
that's what I like about it. Is you don't have the restrictions. You don't have to do something because you did it like that, and that was super. That's bringing us tons of money. If I was doing this for money, I would have stopped ages ago. Like most of us, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so um, you sort of like mentioned there is another album in the pipeline. Uh, could you sort of like, if you can, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it follows much the same strain as all the other ones. There are messages. Like each song is a story, um, and there is actually a love song in there. Yes, I thought hey, I have to do at least one love song, so there is a love song in there. And then, but there's a couple of driving tunes in there, like turn the volume up and put the pedal to the floor, So I think that, I mean, we've got so much material that we're going to be busy for a while. But yeah, so further down the road, these are coming out after this album. And this album is, I think, is due for release in April. So we're going to hear a few more singles, and then the album will be released in April. And then the other stuff starts. So we're going to be busy.
Yeah, cool, cool. So going on to merchandise. Have you got any plans on doing sort of like t-shirts, caps, beanies, that type of stuff?
Yeah, and I mean, I have quite a bit of merch actually, but because we've been so busy writing the stuff, we haven't really been out on the road. That we've been kind of here doing, writing all the stuff, getting the stuff down, and then so my plan is going forward, and then in the new year it will be, we're gonna try and get out a bit more, and then that's when we'll. I mean, I guess you can do merch online now, though, right?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I mean, do people buy merch?
Yes, I'm wearing a piece of merch now.
Yeah. Maybe
I
I should.
bought it at the gig.
Where are you going? Hey, maybe I should. I'm going to tell you an interesting little snippet there. So you know how expensive it is to do all of this stuff, right? And everybody's struggling right now, so there's not tons of cash going around. So spending thousands of dollars on producing music for like getting pennies back from, you know, is not really a good way to spend your money. So I decided that I was going to help one of my friends to subsidize the music project here. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I work part time to pay for the music. I don't think people quite realize how much time and effort has gone into these projects. So, but yes, that's where the money's coming from right now. So maybe I should set some kind of merch line going, and maybe that'll help
Yeah,
as well. Because I
yeah,
guess
it
there's at
would.
least another album. I have more than that, but there's at least another album ready for the musicians to get onto. But
Cool.
so, I mean, like I said to you earlier, my band here is they're perfect. Right where we are right now. When you go through, you go through tunes and you find a sound, but then it depends on the people as well, right? And so I have. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the band actually. So we have Chris Grew. He's the guitarist, and he's a very talented guitarist. And he just comes, and you show him the stuff, and off he goes, and he's got all these ideas, and it's amazing. He's very talented. And then we have Lewis on bass. He's also very talented, and they all bring a different flavor. And that's why I think we in the music you have this. It's like this cross genre vibe because they're all bringing elements of different genres to the song, which I think is awesome. I think it's very good. I mean, Chris is more into a bit heavier stuff, the guitarist, and you can hear that in certain things that he plays, and the way that he plays things. And Lewis, I would say, is more soulful, so you get that kind of funky groove going on. And Ben also, he's not with us now, but Ben was more of a funky sort of drummer. And we have a new drummer actually, but I'm not going to tell you about that just now. That's for another time. But his name is also Ben. It's an interesting story, but that's for another time. And then also we have on keys, we actually have a very young keyboard player. Her name's Melanie, and she's just awesome for her age. She's very talented. So you hear these guys in these tunes, and on the
Cool.
video for She's an Illusion, you'll see them in there. There's little clips of them in there, and that's the band. I just thought it was important that it's not just me. I'm not playing all these instruments and doing the thing. These are the guys that make the songs what they are.
Cool. 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 Now, some of my subscribers will actually lynch me if I don't ask this question. Is there any plans on putting your albums or music onto vinyl?
Oh, you know what? I would love to do that. Thing is, it's so costly though. It's so expensive. I mean, everything's expensive, but to put them onto vinyl, you really have to have a captive market that, pretty much commit to buying them. Otherwise, you can be thousands of dollars out of pocket. All these fancy vinyls sitting there in your closet. But if people are interested still in buying vinyls, I know they were popular for a while. I know a lot of kids that have vinyls, they buy vinyls, but they're expensive. It's like I've seen some vinyls going for like I don't know, 50, 60, $70. It's crazy. But I
Yeah,
would think about it if I had the resources to do it up front. Yeah, I would do it. Maybe further down the road, we'll see how much the people like the music, and then
yeah.
maybe definitely CDs though, definitely CDs further down the road or whatever. I mean, it may be that we use something else. Does people still use CDs or is it
Yeah.
USBs?
I still use CDs. I still use vinyl. I still use tapes.
I,
So
I guess the big mega music fans are always going to use these, aren't they? I guess they would be. I mean, I had vinyls,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. At the minute, I'm listening to Halloween on vinyl.
Oh wow! What is your? I bet your
So
collection's massive. Is your collection massive?
I wouldn't say massive, but it's mean I've got quite a bit on vinyl.
Yeah,
but
eh?
where my collection is on MP3 and CD.
Ah, really? Yeah. I guess it would.
So
I mean, that's the thing,
yeah,
is it? And one of the biggest problems, I guess, for 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 musicians and for people who make their own music is everything's on Spotify, right?
yeah, it's mainly on streaming services at the minute.
And
But
I
with
read
like
somewhere you have to get like, I don't know, what, 5 million streams to get $500. It's
it's
so unattainable for most people, and that's the problem. Most people, especially independents, they get strangled out, by all the big artists that can spend millions marketing their stuff and whatever, and so that's how it's important. It's always important to support your independent artists. I don't think people quite realize, what situation they're in. It's like it's the classic musician thing. You spend $3,000 on a piece of equipment so you can go to a gig that pays you $100.
yeah,
It's nuts.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the reasons why I set up Project Metal Music, is to actually support small independent bands,
Yeah,
the unsigned bands, is to get my sort of like mantra for Project Metal is, if I can get at least one person to check
yeah,
out the artist, the musician, the band, whoever it is,
yeah.
I've done my job, because that one person could go off and tell two, three people,
Yeah.
and it
And
sort
that's
of like
why you guys,
snowballs.
yeah, and that's why you guys and all these radio stations do they're the unsung heroes, right? Because they do so much, and to try and get, if they find some music they like, to put it out there and stuff. Because without them, I mean, you're only limited to your small circle of friends, really. Even if you had 100 friends, a hundred best friends, there's still only so much, so much you can do, right? Without the help of people like yourself and DJs and all the rest of it, I think you guys are really the unsung heroes. So a big thank you to all the efforts that you guys go to promote the music of independent artists.
No pleasure,
Thank
no
you.
pleasure. So, Lisa, who normally asks this question, um, out of all the venues that you've played at,
Mm-hmm.
which venue is your favourite to play at?
Oh. Oh, well, it used to be a place called Calistoga Grill, which is in Montreal. And that was such a cool place because of how it was positioned and stuff, and you could eat and all that. It was very chill. So there's that, but then I guess there's another place like the House of Jazz. The House of Jazz again is the same sort of vibe. It has people can eat and listen to the music and the live stuff as well. So I guess it'd be these two. But they're both in Montreal. Um, and so, like I say, my plan is next year, I'd hope to actually make it over to the UK. I'd love that. That'd be awesome. It's been a while since I've been there, but I do have family in Sheffield and Edinburgh and stuff, and a few quite dotted around. So I could do that. That's on my
Oh,
list. That's on my
oh.
bucket list. Go to the UK, the heartland. That's my plan.
Yeah, I was going to ask about, are you coming back over to the UK to do a tour, or just purely to visit family,
No,
or
no,
both?
that would be my plan to do both. That is actually on my list. I have instructions from like I say, my drummer before he passed away. He made me promise him that would be on my list. So I have to keep that promise to him. So it'll be in I'll have to come to the UK and do a tour. So I'm gonna have to speak to the manager. Say, manager, sort this, please. I gotta go. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be so
Yeah,
much
good.
fun to go back to. Well, we're really where I came from. Yeah, I came from Scotland, but Scotland, England, pretty much the same, really. Just don't understand each other.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. So, right. Got so Lisa Boo sort of like comes up with another question. Which song do you like playing live, whether it be your own or a cover?
um, you know what? I have to be honest with you. Covers are quite hard for me because I always want to change them. I want to sing them different. So I tend to stick to my own stuff where possible. Obviously, I have to do some covers, but where possible. I would say of my own, I do like Little Black Book. That's a good one for live. Um, and also Break the Chains from the first album. That's kind of more a dancey up tempo. So yeah, Break the Chains, Little Black Book, and also She's an Illusion would be a good one. Yeah, these are good ones for live.
Cool, cool, cool. So, where can people find you on social media?
Well, Facebook. I tend to use Facebook probably most. Although I'm starting to. I'm a bit. I'm not very good at social media. I try my best, but you need to spend a reasonable amount of time on it to be good at it. I'd say the best place is probably YouTube because anything that's new goes on there, or Facebook. Yeah, I post little clips, but I'm gonna start putting some shorts on YouTube as well. So it's probably gonna have as much information on there as anywhere else. But for now, I would say Facebook and YouTube. Um, I'm actually also on X as well. Where else? Instagram. I opened a TikTok, but I don't know how to do it. I'm like, okay, let's just someone else will do it. But I'm trying. So pretty much anywhere you'll find me, and then you'll get links to somewhere else.
Cool, cool. I have put all the links to your socials in the description. There's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I think I think screw you, Elon. I'm still calling it Twitter.
Twitter, yeah, X. Come on now, it's X.
Sounds like a naughty site.
It's true. Hey, did you talking about X? Did you see his expo that he did, Elon Musk there? Did you
I've,
see he's got this truck? It's like a robo truck. Well, it's a robo van that drives itself. I'm like, oh my god, it's scary. There's robots and stuff doing things. I'm like, you can buy your own robot for $20,000 and it'll mow your lawn.
uh,
I just thought I'd tell you about that. You can go check it out. It's
yeah,
fascinating.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, screw you, Elon. I'm still calling it Twitter.
Twitter.
Yeah,
Let's call it Twitter. Anyhow,
yeah,
yeah, I'm on there.
yeah. So please follow River on her socials. I've like I said, I've been listening to some of River's songs on on YouTube. River's amazing. River is amazing. So go follow her on the socials.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. And I hope you like the stuff that's coming up as well. There's another song being released middle of November. So that'll be on YouTube as well. There's a video for that. And we'll keep going. We'll keep going. So there'll always be something, at least once a month there'll be something new for you guys. And I really
Cool.
appreciate it. support. And thank you so much for inviting me on your show. It's been
Yeah,
such
my
a
pleasure.
pleasure chatting to you. And maybe I'll see you when I get over there. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
That'd be
totally.
fun. We could have a riot.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look forward to that. It's so nice
yeah,
to chat to you
me
and
too.
your viewers.
Yeah. I've got one final question. One final question. Any advice for people who want to become a musician?
Yes, it's not gonna be easy, but if you want it, you have to stick with it. You know, and all these times you get your sore fingers playing the guitar, you gotta keep at it. Eventually, you'll turn around, you'll play something you haven't played for a while, and the last time you played it, you were crap. Next time you play it, you're pretty good. You have to stick with it. That's it. One of the biggest obstacles is giving up. You know, the minute something gets difficult, give up. Never do that. Keep at it. That's what I would say. If you want to go get lessons or, you know, hang out with musicians and stick with what you want to do, that's key. Don't give up. You got to keep with it, and eventually you'll get there. So be resilient. Patience is key. That's it. That's all.
Oh, good. Yeah, great advice there. Patience and practice.
That's it. That's all there is to it. If you want to do it, that's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, sound advice there. Sound advice. River, thank you so much for coming on. It's been
Thank
a total pleasure.
thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you, and your viewers as well. Hello, and thank you very much. And hopefully I'll speak to you again soon.
Oh yes, most definitely, most definitely. So yeah, before we start on things up, have you got any final words before we go?
And just in general,
Just in general.
just in general, I say there's keep smiling, friends. You know, keep up the good fight and keep doing what you're doing, and that's it. That's all.
Yeah, yeah. Lisa Boo says, "Thank you, River."
Thank you very much.
So again, River, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure. It's been a
It's been
total
so nice
pleasure.
to get to know you, and I hope we'll stay in touch because I've enjoyed our little chat. I'm sure we'd have lots of chats, and I just go like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Anyway, anyway, River.
It
Again,
must be the
thank.
Scottish. It must be the Scottish. They just chit 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 chit. Talk talk talk.
Thank you ever so much for coming on to River. And guys, if you haven't already, please check out River. She's absolutely amazing. Yeah, go
Thank you
follow
so
her
much.
on her. So my
Thank you.
pleasure.
I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.